Okay, another Sunday. It was a busy Sunday actually. That's why I was doing my video so late. Yesterday I spent a little bit of time in here, actually quite a bit of time in here. I received a couple harnesses, the engine harness. I received the lighting harness for the front. And I started going through it. I started marking all the wires. Most of it I remembered. Some I had to reference the schematic, which is actually not accurate. So it took me a little while to figure a couple of them out. I just couldn't remember what they were because, geez, the last time I touched a wire on a 72 Chevelle was probably back when I was with Chevrolet in 76, 77. So anyway, so I got the wiring in place. I started hiding the wires because, as you know, I hate wires. Also picked up a battery this week. Lots of little things, but a couple of setbacks. One, I started doing the air conditioning vents, and all that worked out. But when I went to pull one of the coils, let me grab one here so I can show you. Well, actually, I got to go in the car for it. So when I was doing the driver's vent, and this is your coil, and this thing is actually pretty damn aggressive. I was just snaking it through, nice and easy, and I ended up catching one of the lights on the new cluster. It pulled the light out. I didn't think nothing of it, but then when I looked a little closer, I noticed a disaster. Here's the brand new printed circuit on the brand new cluster, and you can see it broke. Now, one of the tricks we used to use, because these were hard to get actually, even when I was at the dealer, and if we needed to really fix something and get it out the door while we were waiting for the part, we would temporarily actually staple that. Because you can still get the light on there, the staple's thin, and it would put the circuit back together again, and you know, the car could go back to the customer while we were waiting for the part, because sometimes these took a while to get. It wasn't easy to get parts back in the mid-70s, and we had a couple of crises in the mid-70s. Not as bad as we have them today, but stuff like that was kind of hard to get. It wasn't like readily available and coming to you. Oh, okay, a little confusion there. My battery started to actually die. I just swapped batteries. So basically, yeah, we would staple that and just send it on its way, but I'm not going to do that, of course. So I ordered a new printed circuit. I'm also waiting for all the rest of the wiring harnesses. So, you know, a little setback. I had to pull the dash back out, and I didn't have to pull the cluster out. I just leaned the dash over, and I just took it apart, and that should be, I would say, here middle of next week, and hopefully everything is going to work out. So what else? So lots of little things. It's a couple of big things. So the wiring was a big issue this week, and like I said, we got a few things here. Let me get this camera off here. We'll walk around a little bit and we can see, you know, the good, bad, and the ugly. All right, weekly disclaimer, I'm not a cameraman. So let's just take a quick look at things. Number one, there's my glass mat red top Optima battery, which I believe is going to do the job here. And this is a 3478, so it's got the lugs up top, and it's got the side terminals, so I can go ahead and put any accessories on here without interfering with the battery terminals themselves. I went ahead and I made some new heavy lines. I put the heat shield on there with the metal tie wraps, and those are pretty impressive. They worked very well, and the heat shield is going to help out a lot. I also did the negative cable, which is just kind of just sitting here at the moment. So let's look at some of this wiring. So I ran, and this is all mocked up. I still got to neaten it up. So I ran the wiring for the alternator. This wire obviously we're not going to use, so I'm going to have that disappear. I'm not going to cut anything. I'm just going to find a creative way to hide it. I don't want to start cutting the new harness. So I ran it down under there for now. And it's a little hard to see. You got to really look for it. There it is. It goes to the back. And right now you can kind of see the harness just kind of hanging there. And I have some cable clamps coming, so I'll neaten all that up against the firewall, tuck it up high, and it won't be that noticeable. Wherever you see wires, I have a way to cover that. So this way there'll be no colors, it'll be all black. Kind of hard to see. I mean, you'll see that there's wires there, or at least you'll see that there's some type of cable there. But at least it won't be all these colors. And I went ahead and I started tagging everything. Here, let's take a couple of looks at things here. So this is just a live wire. This is not on any of the diagrams that I can find. It's actually a live wire, and I can't remember of anything being there that I would need a live wire for. So, and then these two also, this brown and this green, don't appear anywhere either, and I'm gonna have to figure those out. I have this is a horn relay, which we do need to use because there's the green wire for the horn sitting in the center where it belongs, which was stock. And then we have the windshield wiper and washer wiring. All this is going to disappear. I don't need any of that. And that is just the ground that's going to go on the side of the fender, I believe it goes. And we'll use that. And this one I'm going to have to extend. And this is the low brake warning that goes on the proportioning valve. So this I'm going to have to extend because the way I'm hiding the wires, this one's definitely it's definitely short at this point. So we're going to have to extend that. And then we have the coil wires, but not going to need those either. So those are going to disappear in some type of a conduit. And I'll just kind of hide it in black and just cable clamp it to the rest of the harness, and again, it won't be noticeable. And I have let's see, oh, and I ran everything. I ran all the wires behind. This is all the headlight wires. There, and it runs under here so you don't see it. And I ran everything behind the fender here. Normally they go kind of like along the fender so that it's easy to work on. I ran everything. I use this as my chase. So all my wires, those are my, that's my number 2 fan wire. I got the number 1 fan wire in there. I got a few things in here. And it's quite large, so I was lucky to be able to hide a lot of stuff. And this is what? This is, oh, this is the, I call it the ECM cutout. And it's the AC cutout that comes from the ECM from the fast system. So when you kick the AC on, it'll throttle up the RPMs. So this way you don't have to worry about stalling or lugging or whatever. So all that runs up and underneath. And I started to somewhat organize the bottom, but I still got to tie wrap everything. I don't want to tie wrap everything now because I'm going to be moving stuff around. I'm going to be adding and subtracting and maybe changing my mind. So I don't want to have everything tie wrapped just to cut all the tie wraps, throw everything away, and, you know, starting to really neaten things, maybe possibly shorten the wire to make it neater, and then next thing you know, I got to add to it. So I didn't want to do any of that. These are the battery wires for the 2 fans, and those will go on the red here, and the ground is going to be right at the radiator. And here's a little horn wire, and that was it. So really I just spent a lot of time wiring, and it doesn't look like a lot, but it's a pain in the butt to try to move all that stuff around. And here's the bad news. So I had to pull the dash back out. As you can see, the printed circuit is removed, and it was no big deal. But as I was removing it, of course, there had to be an additional problem. I ended up breaking the new wiper switch. I unplugged it, but for some reason, when I pulled it, it just came apart in my hands. I don't know if it was just a crappy switch, which it wasn't a cheap one. It was an OEM reproduction. It was a $58 switch, but it literally came apart in my hands. So here we go. So we're wide open again, and you know, a little depressing, but You know, I rather that I found the problem now than after. Also, I put some fuses in a fuse box. I am getting power in here, and everything seems to be getting the power as it should. The AC unit sitting back there. I started plumbing it. This is the culprit right here. This is the one that did damage to the printed circuit when I was pulling it up and around to go on top. So this way, there's room for me to hide it here, and even with the dash pad, it'll still be hidden. And I don't even think it's going to really smash it down. I think it's going to hide it pretty good. So, you know, unfortunately, when I pulled, it caught this light, popped it out, and it must have caught the corner and ripped it. And it's really thin. I mean, it's not like the OEM one. I even grabbed the OEM one, and I was going to throw it on there, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing that. I just ordered what I needed, and that was it. And that was about it. Just a lot of wiring, a lot of labeling, a lot of reading the diagram to try to figure out where everything goes. Not everything, but you know, some of the parts that are kind of mysterious. I mean, if anybody knows what where did it go now? I just had it here. So, oh, here it is. I mean, if anybody knows what these are, let me know. They're definitely not for sending units, even though it kind of like appears they are, but they're not, because I found the oil pressure sending unit, and that's down below. The transmission wire is down below. The green wire here is our coolant. That's our coolant temperature, and I noticed that if you want to use the OEM sending unit, this is the wrong fitting for it. That's a push-on fitting, and the original OEM has a cutout here, so it slides on. It's what I believe they refer to as a button fitting. So this is wrong. I'm going to have to change this end. So I did order an end. I believe I could just pop it out of here, pop it in the new end, and have that cutout that I need, and I'll have the OEM unit. Because with the gauges, you do have to use that OEM unit. You can't use the aftermarket ones. They won't be accurate. So, what else? Last week I did get the harness for the fuel pump that comes from the fast system back to the fuel pump. It's under the rug at this point, so hard to show you that. But at least the computer will control that. It'll give us our 3-second burst to prime everything, and it'll be able to control the pulse of the fuel pump. You know, it's not going to be a lot, but it's going to be basically, you know, maybe it'll pull back at times, or it'll pump full force at other times. So this way, everything works together. That was my goal. Everything has to work together, and that was about it. I got a whole bunch of parts coming in this week. I got some stuff coming today. Today's stuff is more like accessories and just things to kind of neaten things up and make things look good. But other than that, I mean, we're getting there. It's, you know, we're at the tedious point where everything has to fit, everything has to go good. But I'll tell you, that dash kind of broke my heart when that thing ripped. It was just like, oh man. But I was at a point where the dash came out in 10 minutes, so it wasn't a big deal. And of course, the wiper switch, I did disconnect it, and as I took the lock off and I just gave it a small pull, as the wire started coming, it took the whole back of the switch with it. And yeah, I could call up and bitch about it to the manufacturer, or to where I got it. I got that from GPD, I believe. I'm sorry, NPD, National Parts Depot. But you know, I just can't be bothered. I don't have time to sit there and cry about it. So I just ordered a new one, and that'll be here this week also. So I got a whole bunch of wiring coming this week. I got all the harnesses, and hopefully we'll have all this here figured out, neatened up, cleaned up, and buttoned to the firewall next week. I believe next week we have a 3-day weekend. Well, for most people, I'll probably end up working somehow. It always seems to work out that way. But so we're getting there. I mean, yeah, we got one step. Well, if you want to say two steps. You know, we took a one step forward and we took 2 steps back, as Bruce Springsteen says. But you know, it is what it is. But you know, welcome to the world of hot rodding. I really wanted to go to a car show that was going on today, but I have other things going on at the house, and I had to stay here, just kind of, you know, walk the workers through it, and you I'm trying to finalize my backyard. The fencing will go in 3 weeks. So a lot of what we're doing now is just kind of getting ready for that, because once the fence goes up, it would make this stage of the game a little harder. So we're doing that now. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to go to the Right Tech car show. I really wanted to go, but there's many more coming. So I'm sure I'll be able to attend a few of them. Not with a car, but just myself, walk around, and I know a lot of people there, so it'll be cool. But really wish I could have made it today, but unfortunately I couldn't. And I couldn't even go, at a later time, because we're going to be stuck outside working for the rest of the day till nighttime. And then next week we got a little bit more work to do. So I'll be bouncing between car and backyard, and just trying to finish all my projects, because, again, our summers and springs are limited here. Winter is forever, and spring and summer is for basically never. A couple months and we're back to the cold. All right, guys, let me put this back on the stand and we'll finish up from there. All right, so I guess, like I said, we're at the tedious point of just getting everything wrapped up wire-wise. Once I did put power to the vehicle through my jump pack, and everything does work. I got power at the fuses. I have power at the wires when the key is on. When the key is off, the power goes away. The only fuse that I'm waiting on, because I didn't have any, was the instrument panel lamp fuses. Those are little tiny. I think they're 1/4 by 5/8, and I didn't have those, and I know the auto parts around here is not going to have those. They wouldn't even know what I was talking about if I asked for it. So I guess that's where we stand. I mean, this is the only thing that really pissed me off today, yesterday. This happened yesterday. And again, welcome to hot rodding. It's just a little setback, but we'll get through it and get it back together. But I can't believe how thin this stuff is. I mean, I don't know why they just don't make the stuff a little thicker or just charge a little more. I mean, anybody doing a project like this, and I'm sure is not nickel and diming. And if they are, they shouldn't be doing a project like this. You need to spend the money, and if you're doing this, I mean, you don't have to spend the money. You could work with the original stuff that was in the car. I'm not saying everybody's got to out spend $1 million, but when you get to a point of like what I'm doing here, I would much rather pay even $50 to $100 more for something that's a little better. So I wish that option was out there, because I would go with it. And now after taking this off and kind of feeling it, it's like, wow, that's really thin. And the OEM one's a little thicker than that, and it doesn't feel as brittle. This feels brittle to me, like it's so easy to destroy it. As you see, I did, and it's right here. As you see, I did destroy it, and I mean, I just tugged it. I didn't yank on it. Did nothing abrupt. It was just, it just popped the light out and just ripped that, and that was the end of that. It was like goodbye, Jack. Done. All right, guys. So enjoy your weekend, and I'll be back next week with hopefully all positive things, no setbacks, and the dash will be back in. That'll all be working. And I guess we'll go from there. So we'll see you next week. Have a good weekend, whatever's left of it anyway.